Hello, my name is John Tague. I'm the Superintendent of Schools for Franklin West Supervisory Union, proudly serving the students of Fletcher, Fairfax, and Georgia. So this video is for the folks in Fletcher to get an overview of the budget. Stop moving that around and we will get started. So the budget does reflect the district's goals as the board builds this budget. We try to make sure that what we're doing meets these goals. So we want to best meet the needs of the Fletchertown School District and maintain fiscal responsibility. We want to utilize data to understand student performance and how the board can support continuous improvement. And the last video talked a lot about student performance, and the board's work has been instrumental in that continuous improvement that we can show you. We want to ensure that the facility is well maintained and adequate to meet the needs of each student. And we want to attract, support, and retain high quality staffing in our school. So the goals that the board keeps in mind as we build this budget. So some things take pressure off the budget, some things add pressure to the budget, starting with the ones that potentially can take some pressure off the budget. So bear in mind that not every household in Vermont pays their school tax solely based on their property value. So not all through property taxes. 2/3 of the households get an income sensitivity. So there's some reduction in your property taxes based on your household income. So that does offset your local budget, doesn't impact necessarily ours, but the other piece that will impact all of those is Governor Scott has included in his budget $105 million in the education fund to offset tax increases statewide. Now, not a guarantee, it's in his budget, how it shakes out, but we will be able to at some point show you like what that might look like in this budget. But if that moves forward as it has in the past, it does take some pressure off the budget. On the budget, we are a organization that's largely based on people. And so salary and benefits definitely increasing puts pressure on the budget with school choice and Fletcher tuitioning students from 7 through 12, pressure on the budget from secondary and tech tuition. And we do have a larger incoming 7th grade class versus the 12th grade class that's graduating. So that's going to be a natural increase in the cost for the school. There's additional challenges. So student behaviors become more challenging even at earlier grade levels. So there's sometimes a need for us to add additional staffing to support a particular student so that all students, including the student that needs the support, have access to their education and opportunities to learn in a sort of less distracted environment. We know that there's an increased need for mental health resources to support students dealing with trauma. That's real, and unfortunately organizations like NCSS have received less funding, and so they're unable to provide the level of support that they once did. So as a school, have to make sure that our students are able to learn. And so as a school system, we've had to add resources that deal with mental health. So we have clinicians in our budget, we have school psychologists, we have whole bunches of layers that didn't used to exist, but that's due to a shift in funding in the state. So what used to be in the mental health budget now shows up in the education fund budget. And we know that the current education funding system is not sustainable for our taxpayers. We're not the only one that knows this. It's not a secret. We talked about it in the first video of the Vermont's education funding system video. You can go back and watch that if you haven't seen it already. And obviously your legislators are working to create a more sustainable system. So those are our realities. We start talking about the budget really in July. Start looking at enrollments, start having conversations. Our first goal is to develop a level services budget, which means if we did exactly everything we did this year, how much more does that cost us? We revise the budget based on board's direction. We look at cost savings and ways that we can meet student needs and be compliant. We have conversations in November through January with Principal Locke. We adjust, we reduce, we try to make sure that we meet class size minimums and all of those things. Round about December, we start getting numbers from the state, which help us to look at the tax impact, and we make adjustments based on what we know there and what we think is again feasible for the Fletcher community. The board approves the budget in January. We share that with you. We communicate with flyers, we communicate with these videos, communicate at the information meetings. And really what we need is people to get out and vote, no matter which way you're going to vote. If you get out and vote, then we know where we stand, and we hope to provide enough information for you so that you can make an informed decision as you go to the polls. Talk about that later. So here's what's impacted our budgets. Salary and wage increases under the professional staff agreements. Current salaries are competitive with our neighboring district. We want our teachers, once we hire them, to stay here. Teacher retention leads to student success. If we have a kind of a treadmill or whirlwind of teacher turnover, something along those lines, it's not good for students. If they have a brand new teacher every single year, it definitely impacts their ability to make progress. So we are competitive with our districts, and we like to have our teachers stay here. Our health insurance premiums went up by 7.3%. Health insurance is mandated statewide. That includes what plans we offer, what the rates are, what percentage of the plan we pay, and there's not a lot that we can do about it other than offer what we have to offer. There is some push in the legislature to make some changes to that system so that maybe there's some more choices that schools get to make, or savings that are impact all of us. Secondary and tech school choice tuition has increased by 5.45%. Maybe I should say that over again. Secondary and tech school tuition has increased by 5.45%. That was easier that time. School choice has added $106,000 to the Fletcher budget. It's more than half of the overall increase in the expenditures. That's just the reality of being a K-6 school and paying tuition to send 7 through 12 out. Here's where all the money goes, with the flashy background. Secondary and high school, you can see it's a pretty large chunk of that pie. Elementary that's the cost for savings, and to some extent, all of these are elementary costs because it's money spent to a large extent on the students in the K-6 building, pre-K-6 building. So just a piece there. You can pause if you want to look at what each pie slice represents, but that's where the money goes. Other smaller changes in the budget. Capital fund. Last year we funded it at $50,000. There is no transfer to the capital fund in this budget. Tech equipment is down by $14,400. Transportation costs are up by about $26,000, and the cost for general ed paras up by $36,000. Those are the pieces that have, in a big way impacted the budget. Here's the overview. Total budget, $4,861,727. That's an increase of 4.22%. Per pupil cost, $12,771.16. That is an increase of 3.81%. So your pupil count was relatively stable. So, largely the increase in spending and the increase per pupil are pretty close to each other based on those numbers. And again, talking about the top spending increases, salary, wages, and benefits. Secondary tuition were the top areas. Decreases, the capital fund transfer in the library. Library as a percentage was a pretty significant decrease. As a dollar amount, maybe not so much. But that's where we're going to leave it. Okay, a little bit of a cliffhanger. The next video is talking about the actual tax calculation and the household impact. Spoiler alert, it's probably included in the flyer that we mailed you, and you can look at it in the budgets that are online. But we'll also put a video out in the next couple of days with that information. You can go back and look at the previous 3 videos. You can watch this video again if you liked it that much, and we'll go from there. Voting has already begun as I record this. It's Thursday. So voting began on February 11th. You can request an absentee ballot from the town office if you're going to be out of town on March 3rd, or somebody in your household is not going to be in town on March 3rd, so that they can vote. The information meeting, and this is different than normal. It's Monday, February 23rd at about 6:45, right after the town is done with their presentation. And then voting day is Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026. Polls are open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And that's about all for this budget overview. If you have questions, please reach out to board members, come to board meetings, come to the informational session, shoot us an email, and look forward to talking to you. Thanks for watching, and enjoy the rest of your day.